What's going on, guys? I'm Zachary Gray, and today we're going to be out here in South Louisiana looking for a canebrake rattlesnake, also called a timber. Now, a lot of people consider the timber rattlesnake to be the most dangerous rattlesnake in the United States. But is that really true? That's what we're going to be finding out today. Let's go find one. Canebrake rattlesnakes vary in appearance and habitat across their entire range, and the ones here are pretty well adapted to wetland areas and very disturbed wooded areas. This time of year, the best way to find one is really just hiking areas that they live in hopes of seeing one on the move. Since they spend a lot of time underground in the summer, cooler mornings I'll typically see some along the water's edge, either under briars or some other kind of thick vegetation. So where we're trying to get to is an area that's right along the water and is going to have a ton of briars and more open areas that these rattlesnakes really love. All this habitat that you're seeing, it's actually very disturbed habitat. A lot of popcorn trees, which are invasive here, some oak trees here and there, but believe it or not, they do actually live in this. But the best way to find them right now is going to be out in the open, either under briars or along the water's edge, back where we're heading over here. Now, one of the biggest things with these rattlesnakes is that people step on them. So obviously we want to walk a little bit more along this animal trail to keep from stepping on them. The smaller ones are definitely easier to step on, that's for sure. But as long as I'm aware, that shouldn't be much of a deal. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty hard to find these snakes when you're looking for them. So not a problem that I often have to deal with. Rattlesnake. Big one. Big rattlesnake. See him right there? Stretched out. Big canebrake. Yes! That's a big one. Alright. Hello, babe. I'm not sure how heated up the snake is going to be. Oh. A little bit of a rattle. Ooh, that's a nice one. Gotta make sure there's not a couple more around here. Where there's one, there's definitely a lot more. Hello. Okay, there's its head. Woohoo! You can definitely see how easy it would be to step on a snake like this if they're under a lot of brush. Very easy. They're very camouflaged here. Although a big one like this would be pretty difficult to step on. It does still happen. Okay, that's not a good way to get that. Let's try to pull it up. That's a big one. Crawled a little bit. Crawled a little bit. That is a big adult canebrake rattlesnake. Now, these snakes are oftentimes considered to be one of the most dangerous rattlesnake species in the U.S. Not because of their venom, not because of their attitude, but because of how widespread they are. These snakes span across the eastern United States, down to Texas, all the way up into Canada. Here in Louisiana, you get into little pockets of them where they're absolutely everywhere. And then the rest of the time, you're not going to be seeing any of these snakes. So it really depends on where you go. So really, the thing about this snake is that it's common. Not its venom potency, although it is fairly potent. They actually have multiple different kinds of venoms. I'm not exactly sure what the ones here have, but one thing's for sure is that timber rattlesnakes across the board have very, very potent venom. What I'm really hoping to show you guys is not how dangerous these snakes are, but really that you just need to be aware of them. You need to be aware of whenever the snake is in certain areas to watch out for them, because as you can see, this snake is not trying to bite me. It's actually being very laid back. And while some of them will definitely get a little bit more agitated than others, they'll coil up and they will strike at you, these snakes just want to be left alone. They're not going to come up to you, and even if they get into your yard, it's best to call a professional to come remove them, as the #1 time people do get bit by these snakes is whenever they try to kill them or remove them themselves. But if you're ever out in a natural setting, in a trail, or any place like that where these snakes are supposed to live, make sure you just leave them alone. They're perfectly harmless from a safe distance, they're not going to want to mess with you, and they are a very important part of many different ecosystems. Now, obviously, the most famous things about these guys is their rattle, that rattle going off. He's not actually got a big rattle, he's got about 10 beads on his rattle. I've seen them up to 20. They can get huge rattles, and the more sheds that they have, each time they shed, a new button is added to the rattle. So You know, this is an older snake. Its rattle is probably just broken off a couple times before. But the more good sheds that a snake has, the more rattles it's going to have on its tail when it comes to this species in particular. Definitely not an aggressive species by any means, but definitely one to be respected, and definitely keep a distance if you ever see one of these snakes. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go back and check out the one we did with the Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake in Florida. That is also a very beautiful animal. I'm sure you guys will love that video, and we will see you guys next time. All right, let's let this snake go. Back in your blackberry. Okay.